Oh no, it's your boy Lou again. And I'm making this video today because I want to address some of the conditioning tactics that they use on people. You know, some ways you can gather the evidence, some ways you can decondition yourself. Right? When you're being an organized mob and gang stalked, when you're being a targeted individual, it can be nerve-wracking, right? If you don't know yourself. That is like one of the main things that I can tell you to do. Know yourself, understand your triggers and what's conditioning you and things of that nature, right? So earlier today I was just sitting there and I was watching the Twilight Zone and I get a notification on my phone. It's a video by Organized Mob in Brazil. Here's what you'll notice, right? This is what I mean when I say be aware of your conditioning, right? I'll show it to you. You see, I took a screenshot as soon as I got it, right? Because I had just made a video the other day, apologizing to him because, he felt that I accused him of, being a fake targeted individual and whatnot, which wasn't the case. But I understood. In the part of the video was me explaining to him, do not let them get you caught in their web of lies. Do not let them use you, right? Because what will happen is when they want to condition you, they will pervade every part of your life. So here's what happened, right? I got the video. I didn't immediately go watch it because I was watching episodes of The Twilight Zone. I was trying to finish the first season. And I was like, I know they're going to do it, right? I didn't have to put it in his video. What happened? Look at the time. 12:35. That's when I took this screenshot. What happens next? At 107, in the middle of me reading The Twilight Zone, what's there? Even old dogs have teeth, right? So I'm reading that and I'm like, okay, they have to put it, because they're trying to recondition me, right? I've been deconditioning. They gotta try to recondition. They gotta try to keep you on edge, right? What does that have to do with organized mob in Brazil, though, right? So you saw right there, boom. I did the now. But then it was still on my phone. So 2 hours later, I still have this screenshot. Right? I took another screenshot so that you could see. It was just sitting there. I hadn't watched the video yet. Boom. Right? Organized mob in Brazil. You don't even know what you're looking at, right? Because you can't see it yet. Do you see? The dog, right? If they can't get to him immediately, they'll start pervading his comment section with things that I'm conditioned with, right? This isn't anything new, right? You see how it says yesterday? What does this say? Dog deer. Nope. That's the next day, right? I'm gonna go back. Where is it? Okay, it took me out of it because they want me to tell you the truth, right? Just yesterday, you see dog eating a burrito, dog deer, right? Look at what they do. I don't have to watch anything that has to do with a dog. I try to watch gameplay. This is a trend. You'll start noticing the patterns. They'll start putting it in people's thumbnails, right? In order to try to keep you conditioned if you try to get away from it. Look at Thursday. You can literally just, boom, right every day, boom. In some other language, right? I try to do a whole lot of uninterested, don't recommend channel. It'll still, and trust me, I don't have to think about anything to do with the dog. They will put it there, right next to it. And this literally was back to back. I was just like scrolling in my feed. Boom. Right? North Korea conflict. You see? Summarized. They use dogs. Right? Dog dreams come true. Right? This is how they have to try to sensitize you. If I try to do it on Facebook, you see the dog? If I'm trying to, what I'm saying, just looking through, boom, when it's right under it, dog. I don't know if you can see him. Right here. Bring it back. All right, you see? They're gonna put it in every aspect, right? You're not gonna miss it. So if you can catch what your conditions are and your triggers are, you can easily gather up the evidence, right? The evidence of cyber stalking. And a lot of times what happens is they condition you in person first, on the ground first. What I mean is, if I go outside, they're walking the dogs. Those people walking the dogs will follow you. You'll see a lot of people walking up to you with their dogs, and they'll take a dump right in front of you, right? In order to disrespect you, in order to mock you, things like that. They'll condition you on the ground first, and then they'll implement it in the cyber stalking. That way you're bullied off of social media and you can't get the message out to other people. That is the purpose of organized mobbing and gang stalking via the cyber world, right? They want to take you off of social media so you can't spread. One, you don't enjoy the social media like everyone else. Two, you don't get to spread information to other people about it, right? Now, you've seen it. They've put it in the manga, right? The manga, the YouTube, the Facebook. Okay. Another thing that I've been conditioned to, right? You see, this is today. Right? You see, September 10th. I don't know if you can see it. But I asked her, how you holding up? Then Tuesday, well, no, September 10th, I asked her all of this. I can't remember what it is. I can't see it right now. But then I said, how you holding up? What did she say to me today? No, well, it's my birthday, right? Another thing that I've been conditioned to. Here's what I mean by they condition you on the ground first, right? When I used to work at Family Dollar, boom, this is a birthday card that I was given, right? With the orange conditioning that I had, right? From one of my coworkers. Nothing much to think of it, right? You think, oh, it's just a birthday card. Now, you'll start noticing, right? Boom. So they conditioned me with the orange and the birthday. Then they tried to condition me with the Freemason numbers, all the sixes and stuff. So then they started leaving me birthday cards around the store in Family Dollar. Right? You see it, right? There's a birthday card up here. And that same birthday card is on the floor. 66, you know what I'm saying? For Freemasonry. Right? They condition you on the ground, and then they condition you with the same things when they're cyber stalking you. Right? So you can tell the pattern. Right? It got to the point where, boom, same way I took the screenshot of organized mob in Brazil, you see here, this highlighted, this is this young lady. And then here, I'm showing how I took the screenshot already. And I'm telling her, hey, I owe you an apology, but I saw your request and I knew it was going to be your birthday. Why? Because I was aware of what they used to condition me, right? This is why recently, a friend of mine, I did the same thing to. And also, back to the dog thing before I continue with the birthday thing. Right? Amazon, you'll notice these patterns. So all the things are in everyday things, right? Now, no matter where you go, you can't escape it. This is the point of the conditioning. It's to make it so that you really can't enjoy anything. I don't mind it anymore. Like I said, I'm deconditioning myself, right? I get the neighbors doing their little sound campaign and stuff. I don't mind. I'm going to trial now. So eventually they're going to try to make it so that, oh, I'm locked up, or try to, attack my mental health. You know what I'm saying? They've already been pushing for that. They're conspiring against me. So, they're pushing for that. Oh, yeah, if you keep on talking, we're going to lock you up. We're going to try to set up the scenario with propaganda so that you're mentally ill and you might have to be institutionalized or something like, or they gave me the death threats via the cyber stalking and things like that, where, oh, you're not gonna make it. They have like a bunch of guns and shotguns. See, you'll notice your patterns once you notice the way that they're trying to condition you. You'll be able to notice. You don't have to get off of social media. If you get off of social media, it's just a means of less evidence. You might think it's like peace of mind. Maybe it is to you. If it is, more power to you. Stay off of social media. But if you allow them to bully you off of social media, you do lose a way of getting it to the people, right? A lot of people, I've seen who were targeted individuals, they'd like, I don't have a Facebook no more. They probably like super harass me. All my friends and family were using it to harass me. Notice the patterns first. If you do want to get off of social media, I can get off now if I choose to, because I already know, okay, this person is going to do that, right? This was an example of it. I'll show it to you. A friend of mine, when we were just talking, she wasn't putting too much. Yeah, she did try to imply that I should stay off of social media and things like that for a while, right? When we've had different text conversations, but when I would try to go into the messenger and talk to her, I wouldn't be able to. We'd still be friends, but I wouldn't be able to see her profile or anything. And I was like, okay, cool. Then around this time, I was able to, like, it was like a month or so ago, or two ago, and I was like, I can see her page now. There must be a reason for it. It doesn't mean that they are directly gang stalking you or organized mobbing you, because again, just like in the organized mob in Brazil video, that was the title of his video. They try to hide it within everyday situations. They try to camouflage it within everyday situations, right? Where people do have birthdays, right? You see, I've been conditioned on the ground where they were leaving me cards. Like, that's when you know it's weird. They go out of their way to do things, and then it blends in with the natural. Later on, by the time you're conditioned, they don't have to do it no more because it blends in with the natural. Then they can be like, oh, it's paranoia, things like that, right? If you don't have the evidence already, right? Me, I collect the evidence. So even if you're telling me it's paranoia, I'm going to just go, what about this, right? So, right, with my skepticism, I was like, okay, I can see her page now. What I've noticed is every time someone has spoken to me, since they've been trying to isolate me, is it's been to push a conditioning agenda. So what I did was, I was like, before it happens, because what they would also do is, the way I showed you it was her birthday, they would, even if I, blocked or snoozed them, they would still make me see it on the feed, or they'll be like, oh, it's this person's birthday today, right? Something normal, right? Or they could have had a birthday 3 months ago. If I logged on to the Facebook, and even if they would snooze, they would intentionally unsnooze that person and show it on my feed, right? So this person, like I said, this friend at the time, I wasn't able to like contact her or communicate through the Facebook platform, right? I don't know if she deactivated her page for a while or just took a break from me or whatever. I never taken a break from somebody, so I don't know exactly how that works. I know it's an option. I saw that, but I was like, okay, let me stop and think. I'm conditioned to certain things. All of a sudden, because I don't believe in too many coincidences, all of a sudden, she's back. They are going to use this opportunity to condition me, right? This is in knowing myself. And I went, there must be, based on the pattern, when you realize the pattern, I went, based on the pattern, she's going to have a condition element in her photos because she doesn't post much. So I was like, she's going to have a condition element in her photos that is going to pop up on my newsfeed, whether she wants it or not, or whether I want it or not. It's going to pop up on my newsfeed, regular. So I'm not even saying, oh, she's an organized mob or a gangstalker. Do I believe her to be? Yes. But not because of that, right? Because I've seen many people organize mobbing and gangstalk, and they would stop. But like I said, your birthday was 4 months ago. They just so happened to put it on my feed, right? So what I did was I went to her photos just to check, and I was like, boom, I was correct, right? I saw the happy birthday. You see this birthday cake? Happy birthday. And I knew it wasn't her birthday, right? I was like, boom. I knew it was there because they have to have something. I had already blocked everybody else. So what do? They use the person since I wasn't able to go to her page. I couldn't block or snooze her, right? She's not posting. That's why I had to block her because I couldn't snooze her ahead of time. I was like, okay, they're gonna try to bombard me with these things. So let me just block her ahead of time. That way she's not forced to participate even if it was against her will, right? Because you're gonna have to see it if they put it on your page. If you just continue to scroll, it'll catch your eye. We're visual creatures, right? But this is what I mean. When you can notice the pattern to your conditioning, you can decondition yourself. And you can also collect the evidence, right? You don't have to go to people telling them, oh, I'm being organized, mobbed, and harassed and gang stalked without the element of proof, right? Because if you take it to court, like I have a court date, my next court date is November 27th, right? But for this same reason, the organized mob and harassment, I reacted, but there was a method to my madness. I wouldn't suggest reacting unless you have concrete evidence, right? Don't. You see what I'm saying? Don't do it, right? Collect the evidence first, understand yourself, figure out what they're trying to use to condition you, you know, because that's just how they operate. Now, look at what else I say, because when I say that, if you do so without evidence, they would say, oh, you're paranoid. Here's what I want to do. I like to Google stuff before, like words, even if I know the word, the meaning of the word, I like to Google it so that you know that one, I'm using it right. And for two, see, I was going to do it face forward, but that's also one of the conditioning things. Some people are conditioned to hand signs. Me, I got conditioned to like everything. All the Freemason hand signs, I'm going to do all the hand signs in a second, like the pyramid, people doing this, the sixes and stuff. They'll be sitting there doing like double sixes for 66666, or 66. You know what I'm saying? They're sitting there doing this and this for the horns and stuff like that. That's what I've been conditioned to. All the occult things, almost like they were trying to recruit me and then teaching me these things through it, right? In their harassment, they were teaching me things. But definition of paranoia. Paranoia, unjustified suspicion, right? This is why I like to try to show it to people. I don't know if you see, unjustified suspicion and mistrust of other people or their actions, right? If it's unjustified, it makes sense. If you don't understand what's conditioning and you're just running around saying, oh, they're doing this without any burden of proof, they're going to try to play that card against you. They're going to try to use that as, oh, you're mentally ill. That's one of the things that they've already been trying to do it. Saying that, oh, I'm mentally ill and things like that. Because they won't look at the evidence. That's the thing. That's the difference between mine. I have the evidence. They're doing everything in their power not to look at it, which we're going to have to look at it in trial at some point, right? But you'll also notice that in the same conversation, where is it? I'll just pull it up on my... Right? She's like, do you want to talk about it? And you see what I say? I said, I seem to be the subject of a disgusting experiment where they harass you all day, meant to control or sabotage my life and image. I won't go into detail about it because they'll just delete it. Right? I was like, they'll just delete our conversation, but I have many important decisions to make that may affect others. I mean, you brought it to court. They made it, I say that, they made it a court case. Right? They called the cops on me because they were paranoid that I might react to them harassing me again. Right? I don't need to. I don't feel the need to. Right? Even if I said things that might have just been out of anger, I have no intention of reacting to them or like where I have to go touch them or their things. Right? It just defeats the purpose. I'm already going to court for that. Right? But you see, that sounds like paranoia that they would delete the conversation. Right? What? They would delete the conversation, but here's what I mean. You have to have proof, right? So when I say, oh, they are going to delete the conversation, I'm not doing that without the proof. So they would be like, why would they delete the conversation, right? If they go, nothing is happening, you're not being organized, mobbed, and gang stalked and harassed, right? If that's the case, you wouldn't have any reason to delete evidence. Now, I told her they might delete our conversation. Me and this person were having a conversation about it. What did they do? They've removed his entire side of the conversation because it's a court case now. They have the burden of evidence, right? They have to prove, right? If they're going to make the claim that I'm lying, you have to prove it. And you see, look, I'm showing him a list of what? Harassment techniques. I don't know if you can see it. In this. So you can't tell me that we're not talking about these things, right? Like I said, they deleted his whole entire side of the conversation, and it's not that they deleted it. If you read it, I can't. It says it was removed due to violations of our community guidelines. It says this message was removed because it doesn't follow our community standards. That means you had to go back and monitor our conversation. That's for one. Right? You had to go back, monitor our conversation, and then make the decision that what we were talking about, which was me being organized, mobbed, and harassed, was against your community guidelines, right? So, did he delete it? There is a difference between deleting the conversation. I just recently texted somebody, see? You see, they can delete it, or just like this person did, it says it right here. Unsending messages gives people more control over the messages they've sent. They can still be included in reports. It says it right there. I just pulled it back up. Right? But it'll show you that they unsent the message. That's the person doing it themselves. Right? If you say that it violates, it doesn't go with the community guidelines, you should have to explain that. If we're just talking about me being harassed, why doesn't it go into community guidelines? Why did you go back and double down and delete everything? Everything we were talking about didn't have, right? But there were a lot of things where he might have incriminated himself, and it's in the conversation. Now, what I would expect during trial is, right? Because it would have to go, hey, did you delete it yourself? Clearly, if it went against the community guidelines, it wasn't him who deleted all of that, right? So you would have to fall onto Facebook, right? You'd have to bring that blame to Facebook because Facebook chose to delete it. What am I getting cyberstalked and harassed on? Facebook. Social media. Same thing. If when I'm on YouTube, they'll delete certain comments and stuff, deleting certain people's videos. I collected the evidence a long time ago. So now when certain things are deleted, when I have evidence of YouTube, right? Okay, boom. Now, certain videos you deleted. Why? If it was nothing, why did you delete it? Right? They would try to tell you without the evidence, if you don't have the evidence like I do, that you are paranoid, that they view you as paranoid or some form of mental illness. This is what they have to try to do in order to discredit you. But this is what I mean by understanding your conditioning. If you feel like you can't cope, just like I said, just take a second, come to Christ. He'll give you the eyes to see. Then you'll be able to understand your conditioning, right? Come to Jesus Christ. Let him give you the eyes to see. Lean not on your own understanding. Because then you'll start going, oh, I get what they're doing. And you'll be able to start predicting, right? You have some foresight now, right? He'll give you the foresight to go, okay, they're going to do this, right? If you know they're conditioning you, that means they're adamant on doing it to you. So you can go, oh, okay. So when I go to these places, I shouldn't be too surprised when I hear happy birthday. When I go to the job thing, I shouldn't be, right? If I'm going to apply for a job interview or apply for a job and I'm going to an interview, I know I'm going to see this dog. They're going to walk their dog because that's the pattern. You follow the pattern and collect evidence of the pattern so that when you tell it to them, don't make it so that it's your word against theirs. Have tangible evidence. Show them. I can show you. I can walk out my house. I know I'm going to see this dog. So when I walk out my house, I'm recording. I'm about to see the dog. I'm about to see the guy on the bike. I'm about to see all of these things. The guy on the bike is going to follow me. Look, he's following me. He stopped everything, right? You should be able to start predicting these things. It's very predictable. Once you actually understand it, it's very predictable, right? You see how it was showing on that message thread, the harassment technique list. He can't say that I didn't show it to him, right? Then if we was in court, if I had to go bring him to court, yo, cousin, wasn't we talking about that? Yeah. Why did you delete it? He's gonna go, I didn't delete it. Of course he didn't delete it. They deleted it because the whole his whole side of the conversation specifically, didn't follow community guidelines. So if they go up to Facebook, you see how I said it can still be showed in report when I switched over to the other one and I showed you he unsent messages? They would have to explain that. More than likely, I'm pretty sure they can go back and pull up the messages that broke the community guidelines or didn't follow the community guidelines, but they're gonna try to use that as oh, we can't find the report on that. Why can't you? If it was that important, right? They would have to be able to show the proof, right? This is why they're deleting evidence on their end, because they know I had the evidence. So they got to do as much as they can to delete the evidence that might incriminate. Oh, we were talking about Freemasonry. We were talking about the harassment. You know what I'm saying? He was even saying, oh, it could be a social experiment. He's telling me, oh, you seem different since you started believing in God. You know what I'm saying? These are things that when you understand the conditioning, you start to experience. So be aware of yourself. Be aware of your triggers. Be aware of the things that condition you, right? And take note of them. Before you start telling people, get the burden of proof, right? See how I knew, okay, I started rewatching Organized Mob in Brazil. I just made a video on, I haven't been watching too many other YouTube channels. So the only way they can get to me, right, is through him. So sometimes you can also narrow down your activity and they have to go through that channel, right? Okay, I only watch Organized Mob in Brazil. How are they going to get to me? Through Organized Mob in Brazil. But this is just a heads up letting you know. Be aware of your triggers. Be aware of the conditioning tactics. And before you make a move, make sure you have the evidence, right? Don't jump to the conclusions. If you want to do the experiment, cool, err with caution, but don't jump to the conclusions. Notice the patterns. And then, use foresight if you can. Let it happen a couple times. Me, a lot of times, I let it happen like 10 times before I even start recording anything. Before I start collecting proof, I would go, okay, boom, this happened. Let me see if I can predict it this time. Okay, I can predict it this time. Okay, let me see how accurate, right? You should have like a 80% at least accuracy before you start getting the proof. Just a heads up.